Hello, this is a snapshot recording of Learning Through Touch, assessing learning behaviors at the Life on the Edge Inland Seas Touch Pool at the Seattle Aquarium. I'm Jen McDowell, and I conducted this research with my colleagues Ellen Roth and Lauren Messenger. This evaluation focused specifically on the Life on the Edge Inland Seas Touch Pool, which allows visitors to touch marine life commonly found along the Washington coast. We used the visitor engagement framework developed by Barriault and Pearson to observe learning behaviors that took place at the exhibit. Barriault and Pearson suggest that the level to which visitors engage with an exhibit is indicative of learning that is taking place. Their framework identifies 3 stages of visitor engagement: initiation, transition, and breakthrough, that are evidenced by different behaviors that occur as part of a visitor's interaction with an exhibit. This project also looked at a study conducted by Keisel et al., which focused specifically on learning at touch pools. The purpose of this summative evaluation was to assess observable visitor learning behaviors that took place at the Life on the Edge Inland Seas Touch Pool in winter 2015 in order to inform current programming and develop future exhibits. 3 questions guided this study. To what extent do visitors display learning behaviors? What is the group composition of visitors to the touch pool? And how does the presence of interpreters at the touch pool impact the observed learning behaviors? Observation sheets were completed for 453 visitors. An additional 170 visitors were noted as having visited the touch pool, but not engaging with it for 30 seconds or more. The minimum stay time of 32 seconds and median visitor stay time of 1 minute and 53 seconds are within the parameters of initiation behavior. The maximum visitor stay time was 20 minutes and 38 seconds. However, only 2% of visitors stayed engaged with the touch pool for longer than 10 minutes. We found that most groups visiting were made up of adults and children. There were very few instances of people visiting on their own. There were occasionally groups of teenagers visiting without adults. We found that a large majority of visitors came to the touch pool in pairs, usually an adult with a child. The largest group size observed was 8 individuals. As part of the visitor engagement framework, Barriault and Pearson created the visitor engagement profile. As we only looked at visitors who engaged with the exhibit for longer than 30 seconds, which is an initiation behavior, the percentage of initiation is 100%. 63% of visitors displayed at least one transition behavior, while 51% displayed at least one breakthrough behavior. This chart shows a breakout of initiation behaviors. We only observed visitors who engaged with the touch pool for 30 seconds or longer, so that totals 100% of visitors. The second 2 behaviors most frequently observed relate to touching. The visitor either touches or observes someone in their group touching the water or a plant or animal. The least common behavior was taking a picture of an animal. This shows a breakout of behaviors displayed by visitors who displayed transition behaviors. The most common behavior again relates to touching, with 62% of people touching an animal or the water more than once. The least common behavior was visitors displaying concern for animal well-being. The final breakout of behaviors shows breakthrough behaviors. The most common behavior relates to group interaction. 69% of visitors were observed calling to other group members and having conversations with them about the exhibit. The least common were making comparisons based on previous experience and looking for different outcomes between animals. Our evaluation found that 90% of visitors did not engage with the program at the touch pool. Of the 10% of visitors who did interact with the program, 64% engaged with the feeding, while 36% engaged with an animal in a bowl. 41% of visitors interacted with volunteers or staff. 32% of these conversations were initiated by staff or volunteers, while 9% of visitors initiated this conversation. Visitors who initiated this interaction were more likely to display the breakthrough behavior of asking 3 or more questions. In summary, more than half of visitors fully engage with the exhibit. Even so, there are still many who do not show breakthrough and transition behaviors. These behaviors often involve conversation, so we recommend that the Seattle Aquarium may wish to look into opportunities to encourage discussion, perhaps facilitated by volunteers, especially encouraging visitors to make comparisons and deductions about the marine life in the touch pool. When any future changes to the exhibit are implemented, it would be interesting to repeat the study in order to see how those changes impact the frequency of transition and breakthrough behaviors.